Oh dear, this will all bring it back to my classmate, because when he was 8 years old, he used to drive a car very like this round this very garage forecourt. But of course, he was only 8, so he was too small to see over the top, hence the petrol can. We are, in fact, in Dunbarton in Scotland. Well, now here is Sam Marchbanks. I wonder what he's got to say for himself. Morning, Sam.
Good morning.
Now, as the village bobby, what did you have to say to this young man?
I used to tell him that if I would nick him if I got him in the road with the car.
Did you ever catch him?
No, I never got the chance.
What did he do? How did he react?
He just looked up at me and smiled, knowing perfectly well it was a friend behind he got.
So you never did nick him?
No, I never got that chance.
Too quick for you, eh, Sam? No doubt our lad would have driven to school himself if he had the chance, or if Sam hadn't been here to stop him. Actually, talking about school, I think that's where I'm going to go next. Lend me your bike. Right, here we are then, Dumbarton Academy, and time, I think, for a little light Highland dancing. Good excuse to get in the inside, in the warm. Very good indeed. That's the only one, Miss Shaw, I remember. You see? The dashing white...
The dashing white sergeant.
Now, of course, Miss Shaw here, you used to teach our classmate. Now, was he any good at Scottish dancing?
Oh, at first none of the boys were. The boys all had 2 left feet to start.
Did they get any better?
Oh, amazing. By the time of the party, they were all perfect.
Oh, I see. It was a party, was the carrot, was it?
Yes.
Wanted to dance with the girls, I see. Well, they do as say that any boy who's born within sight of the rock behind me there is known as a son of the rock. So I think it's about time that we moved a little further south to join some sons and, of course, daughters of the rock for another edition of Classmates. Ha-ha! Any trouble from you? Up high the loo. It took me 4 days to warm up from that trip to Scotland. I don't know, it's freezing up there, isn't it? Absolutely perishing. Oh, it is, it's absolutely perishing. Right, now I tell you one thing about our classmate, which we haven't talked about before, and that is he can't half talk. Yes? He's got a mouth on him, so I think we ought to get all our information out before he comes on. Right, Elizabeth, you start the ball rolling.
Well, I remember when I was young, I had long ringlets, and he sat in the desk behind me, and he used to pull my hair, and it wasn't very nice.
What a bully, what a bully. But you quite liked him, didn't you?
Oh, I did, actually, yes. I quite fancied him, but I don't think he knew that.
You'll be able to tell him in a minute or two. You didn't fancy him much, Henry, did you?
No, not that way.
No, not your type.
Not quite.
No. What memories have you got?
Well, when we were about 5, we decided to put wings onto an old go-kart in the garage with the intention of flying off the roof. But unfortunately for the likes of James Hunt and these in later life, we were caught before we took off.
And that was the age of 5?
Age of 5.
Flying?
Flying.
Flying. What about that, eh, Bill?
Well, the last time I saw him was about 15 years ago.
You don't look as if you want to see him tonight, either. But you made an effort. Come on, today.
Yes, this is the first time I've flown, and,
You're never going
yes,
to repeat it.
right.
But do you think he's done quite well?
Well, he never had a lot of brains, but he had a lot of common sense.
Ah, I'd rather have common sense than
Yes,
brains,
well.
wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Evelyn, you're looking extremely quiet down there. Your memories?
Well, I remember being in his car and the music playing, and it was Eartha Kitt singing Proceed with Caution.
Proceed with caution. Well, of course, proceed with caution he did. We didn't take much notice of the speed limits, but he went on to become 3 times champion Formula 1 motor racing driver, Jackie Stewart.
They have changed.
They have changed. It's the hair. The old folks' home. What do you make of them? Do you recognise them?
I tell you what, you're pushing me a bit.
They certainly recognise you.
Lindsay's changed a lot. I recognise Gerald very easily.
Gerald, of course, is the son of the policeman.
Yeah, also Sam.
Sam.
Yeah, I saw that bit before I came on. A fantastic man.
What a treasure he is. Come and sit you down and we'll get down to business.
Lovely.
We'll get down to business.
Thank you.
Now, school days, happy or awful?
Oh, pretty awful. I think if, you think of the school days, that somebody says the happiest days of your life. For me, I think they were unquestionably the I suppose the unhappiest, really.
Anne, what did you think of the school?
Oh, I thought it was a wonderful, wonderful school.
Teacher's pet already.
She's the teacher's pet.
We obviously thought more about football and drawing racing cars than we did listen to what the teachers were saying, because they weren't interested in us anyway.
Oh, dear, dear. Everyone's going to be crying at home. John, now, you were best friends at school, and you're still very close. I know that you see a lot of Jackie. What are your memories at school?
Of Jackie, it was not that you're a simple Simon. It was just you're a bit slow. But remember, you sent me a postcard, remember?
This is my classroom being taken over again.
And you told me you spent the whole day here.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Now, people at home are going to be saying, well, he's not thick, because they know quite well that you've gone on after your motor racing times. You've become a highly successful... Nan, shut up. Highly successful businessman. You're a multi-millionaire, a friend of very important people.
Who told you that, Lindsay?
I have Lindsay. Lend me a fiver, Jackie. So what went wrong at school?
Well, I had a problem that actually, oddly enough, was only diagnosed when I was 42 years of age. I was diagnosed as having dyslexia, a learning disability. And it only happened when my son, and both my sons, Paul and Mark, had troubles at school. And it was only when we went to a new school for them that suddenly Mark particularly was identified as having a really bad case of dyslexia. And, of course, they said, is there anything in the family background? And I said, well, I wasn't any good at school either. So they did the test, and there they found it.
And that was it.
And even at that time, it was a fantastic relief
Sure.
to know that all those years of pain, suffering, and anguish, and it's very humbling.
And you know you're not a moron.
Well, I don't know. I'm still working on that.
I want to hear from Mark, because basically, as you said, he was responsible for letting you know. So, Mark, come on out there. Hiding behind the curtain. Did you go to your father and say about yourself, there's something wrong?
Oh, no. It was, I don't think I really noticed. There was a lot of problems with my eyes. I had a lot of different problems. But dyslexia, I had no idea what it was. I just thought I was dumb, thick and stupid, which I was told. I mean, my teachers did say, I mean, the very same thing that...
Same as I got.
Yeah.
Which is, it's really very, very, you know, bad at that age.
Sure.
That's so irritating.
But is it something that can be cured?
I don't think so, no. I think you're dyslexic from an early part of your life. But then, when you're older, you still have it. Whether you've had the lessons, the teachers, the right teachers to take care of it, you still have it.
I think you work around it, don't you?
But you work around it, yes. I mean, you switch it on and off. I mean, it's an advantage, I think. I mean, you find Einstein, you find John Wayne, my father, they all have something.
It's good with the gun. He is.
He's quite good with it.
He's good with the gun. And you're doing a lot of work, I know, now, to try and make dyslexia better known so people understand it.
Well, that's one of the reasons I think I agreed to do this programme, because I know what I suffered, I know what Mark suffered, we in the family suffered because of the troubles, and I'm sure there's a whole lot of people out there, parents and children alike, who still don't know that this problem exists.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mark, thank you very much for your contribution. Bung yourself on one of the school benches over there, and we will carry on. We will carry on. Well, we know that you weren't Einstein, so who was the swot? Who's the clever clogs in the class? Ah, here we are. And Robert, what do you do now?
I'm a chartered accountant.
Old money bags there. Did you always know you wanted to be an accountant?
I didn't have much choice. The way things occurred for me, doors opened at the right time.
A real mixed lot, aren't you? And what about you two?
Well, he makes the stuff and I sell it.
We drink it?
Yes.
I don't think we need to say any more, do we? There is somebody missing from this class. There's a boy who used to live in the Nissen huts.
Yeah.
And you remember him very well.
Yeah.
And you particularly asked us to see whether we could find him. Yeah. And here he is. Joe, come on, Joe Millen. you got in common with him, then?
Oh, I don't know, I suppose they were much alike at school. One very clever, and never out of trouble.
I know Jackie wants to know, what have you done with your life?
Yeah, just,
Not going to
I
tell
run
us,
a
are you?
catering business myself, no, and that's what I do for a living now.
You ought to have done the catering for the classmates' party afterwards, but...
Well,
yeah, we
we'll
never
leave it to
thought
you.
of asking, did we? We don't want haggis.
No.
Joe, take a seat over there and you can have a good old natter afterwards.
Well, yeah.
Ian, what are you doing? Stop it, boys. Stop it, boys. What's this? What's this? What are you up to?
Well, I used to pass the answers to some of our mathematical problems to Jackie on a rubber.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, and quite often he passed it back saying, you're wrong. You know? Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, this is something, Jackie, you might remember happened in primary one with Penny Tuk Tuk. And I don't know whether it was you, but one little boy had a slight accident. Might not have been you, though, would it? And the poor wee boy wet his trousers, completely soaked his trousers and big puddle in the floor and everything. So she took off his trousers and put them over the radiator. And to keep him warm, she got a big piece of brown paper and wrapped him up in brown paper.
Did you go out with any of this lot?
I quite fancied Anne Turner for a while. You see, but so did everybody else, and being useless at school and her being clever at school, it was one of those unreachable goals. So I never got there.
I do think that you ought to say something tactful to the lady behind you, as she has said in public on the television she fancies you.
Well, you see, it's all very well now. You're too late. I've spoken for her.
Elizabeth, I'll change the subject. Please do, Let us talk about cross-country dancing. Why do I keep saying cross-country? Scottish dancing. Gerald, you have fond memories.
Oh, absolutely fond memories. I'm well remembering we were practising one day for one of the class dances. We were over in the gym hall. It was a fairly big hall. And the teacher at the time was Foddy McFarlane. Dear old Foddy, bless his heart. Anyway, we were all dancing around there, and I was watching you lot tripping over your feet, and I thought I was doing pretty well. All of a sudden, the gramophone, as it was in those days, screeched to a halt. Pregnant pause, and as a roar, Marchbanks, come out here. And here it was. I had to dance round the room with Foddy McFarlane. I was absolutely mortified. I might be able to do a wee bit better now.
I think we need to reconstruct this. Come, Gerald. Shall I be Foddy? Very good, very good. For a policeman, he's pretty light on his pins all the time. I'm now going to talk about your first car. Now, you might have forgotten it, but it looks remarkably like this. But it's not all that it appears to be. Is it, Gerald?
No, Dinky Toys, Jackie.
Yes.
Remember the Dinky Toys? We're going back a bit now. We're going back, dare I say it, 40 years. This was a car, you and I bought one each from a shop out in Dumbarton East. It's an Armstrong's Italy Sapphire.
Right.
Needs a wee bit of a repaint, but other than that, it's not too bad. But that was one of the more legitimate purchases I made. I don't know if you recall the instance where...
He's going to embarrass you now, I'm telling you that.
Well, it might be me that's embarrassed, but we went out one day at lunchtime down to the post office, Miss Bennett's. Remember Miss Bennett's? And there in the window, there was a set of garage implements, toy implements, you know, pumps and signs, etc. Of course, you being in a garage, you were dead keen to buy them. Anyway, you come up with an excellent solution. The solution was that I break into my piggy bank, which I duly did. And lo and behold, the next day we went down and we bought our garage set. However, when I got home, my beloved sister blew the whistle on me, and I get the biggest headache of my life. Thanks, Jackie.
That is exactly why you're a millionaire and you're a copper.
That's
It's the old story. Right, now let's still talk about serious cars now, not dinky cars. Now, Jimmy, you are Jackie's elder brother, a racing driver in your own right at one time, weren't you? Your mother's car was there at Silverstone, wasn't it, from what I can remember?
Well,
he was...
that's right. The Austin Atlantic, which was a terrible thing. It was an awful motor car. But Jackie came down the paddock area, sort of popping his head out the thing, and suddenly realising, Christ, you know, this thing has appeared from nowhere.
What, and he was driving it?
He was driving it.
How old?
Oh, I suppose it was about 10, 11 at the time.
So you'd parked it, he'd got into it and drove
That's
it...
right.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I shouldn't think your mother was extremely pleased, was she?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so at all. Oh, now, who have we here? Aha! Yeah, absolutely. Come around here, Hugh. Come around here.
Nice to see you.
Explain this here bike. You had a very warm round of applause there.
Well, Jackie got this bike for his 14th birthday, was it?
Might have been, yeah.
And it was to take him to school.
Yes.
But that wasn't good enough for Jackie. So we built a dirt track round the garage. We used to spend hours and hours trying to break each other's lap records. And
Alec Moffman and you and I.
and at the end of the day, he had to win because we were exhausted.
And Hugh was a lot heavier.
Hugh, thank you. I'll come back to you a bit later on. Now, you have a prophetic story to tell, don't you, when you were out with your boyfriend?
Oh, I know. It was the one where we were out at the Queen's Hotel and a whole crowd of us were together, and we did this quite often. And we came back to our house for coffee. And in those days, there were very few cars on the road. And you were an FSN1 Jaguar. And we were in a little sort of, you know, whatever it was. And suddenly, Jackie Stewart went past. Neil Burgess, you may remember, wound the window down and said, Jackie, who do you think you are? The world champion? And you were 15.
Oh, wonderful.
16. Sorry.
Say 17 for Gerald.
If you hadn't, Jackie, been a motor racing driver, who would you be? What would you be?
I'd probably be working in the garage right now at Dumbuck for John Lindsay.
You ought to explain that.
Well, John has the garage at Dumbuck now that my father and Jim and I had, and he runs that now. So I don't know what I would have done. Had I not been a racing driver, I suppose I would have stayed at the garage. I think that would have been the most likely thing, and in those days I would have stayed on.
OK, now, but there's many a slip between getting you from the age of 15 to, the championship driver that you are now. And you were just saying, Jimmy, Mummy was not too happy about this.
With me being a racing driver at that time, it was very difficult because the last things you wanted was a second son to drive racing cars.
Sure. I think, Hugh, you played your little part in this, didn't you?
Yes.
So how did we get him onto the track without Mother knowing?
Very much so. Jackie used to have to get me to take the car out the far door where his mother couldn't see it about 6 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes it was quite dodgy because she used to rise quite early and try and catch us.
But he raced under another name, didn't he?
Yes, he did. A.N. Other.
The only one I could spell.
What about idols? Who was your hero, Gerald?
It's Bill Haley in the Comets.
Oh, yes. What about Dick Barton? Everybody always says Dick Barton.
Especially.
Yeah? Any other ones? John, what was your heartthrob?
Got Stirling Moss, or
Stirling
Fangio.
Moss? Yeah. And of course there's films.
We cleared the workshop and had put seats in and this projector and got the film thing going, and it was all these old motor racing films.
We used to bring all the customers in. It was quite forward-thinking in its day, actually. You know, to bring customers into the workshop, so they came to see the guys, they saw how clean it was, they saw the films of motor racing, and it was an association because Jim had been a racing driver, and it was before I ever started, so it was...
We should do it again, eh?
We should, yeah.
Here's a trip down memory lane for you, one of those very films.
Fangio, number 10, was out in front with Moss right on his tail. The British ace took over from Fangio after 26 laps. Driving magnificently, he held the lead to finish at an average of 86.47 miles an hour, just ahead of the world champion. A wreath of laurels from Mrs. Topham to Stirling Moss, who has realised his ambition by becoming the first Briton to win the British Grand Prix.
see you.
Very nice to see you.
Are you well?
I'm very well.
You're looking in the pink. That could only happen to you, couldn't
Well,
it?
I use those things, but I get stopped by the police sometimes.
I know. Yeah. So what memories have you got of this gentleman?
Well, I was never at class with him. He's too young to race with me. But one time, it was actually in Hong Kong, they had the race of the giants, and Jackie was a young giant because he wasn't one of the old enough ones. And he'd said to Helen, he said, the wee Helen, I won't race for you, so he wouldn't come and race.
Your wife?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And so we went round, all different drivers, Phil Hill, Dan Gurney, and all sorts of people, and we set a time. And I think Jackie wanted to know how he'd do, but he said he wouldn't race, he told Helen. So he said to, I think, the film crew ABC, I think he said, I'll take it round, just see if the camera angle's all right. And he goes round, and unfortunately, something happened on one corner, he turned it over.
No.
And, of course, the next day, it was this side up, you know, on Jackie's car. But that was the nearest we've been to racing
He's
together.
pretty competitive, though, isn't he, in life
well, that
as
was
well?
it, exactly. That was the thing. He wanted to go round there and show he was quicker than all of us, you see.
I've got Moss's autograph.
Let's have a look
I don't know where my autograph book
You can't read it anywhere.
It's in your desk, probably.
Here it is. Moss, Duncan Hamilton and George Abercassis. So that was at Winfield, right down in the borders of Scotland. And then later on, I think I gave you a page in your own. You must have got better.
There is one question I'd really like to ask you both. When you're in a civilian car and you're at the lights and a normal person, you know, just looks it over and says, oh, my goodness, that's Stirling Moss or it's Jackie Stewart, do they behave very badly? Do they become very competitive?
Sometimes I find that they do, and so what I normally do is look across and tune the radio, or, you know, if I had hair, I'd be doing my hair. That's the modern thing, I suppose, is get on the yuppie radio and call somebody up.
Yeah. They always say to me, who do you think you are? Stirling Moss. That's only if I'm driving a moped up the wrong way.
I think we'll gloss over that. But now, you're in for a real treat now. Would you like to take the teacher's desk over there? Sit down there. Because we are now going to do some singing. Class to attention. You can sing very quietly. Are we ready? Nan will lead the singing. The school song. To Jackie Stewart's classmates, history does have a very strange way of repeating itself, doesn't it? Yes. We're making this an unexpected pit stop. Your son, Paul, who's going to do the same thing all over again. You hope.
Yes.
You hope.
It's starring racing, which is I'm enjoying very much.
Good. It's wonderful. Thank you very much for joining us on Classmates. Jackie, thank you for being a classmate, and I think you've all been absolutely fantastic. Goodbye from all of us here. There'll be another famous bottom here next week, so don't be late or else.